Dear friends, hello. Today I have a very special guest. Her name is Soul Abyad. Soul Abyad, that means white sun. It's a very romantic and a very beautiful name. Soul Abyad is the theater director and instructor. She is teaching in Sorbonne University in Abu Dhabi, which is United Arab Emirates. And she is also running the experimental theater. Dear Soul, I'm very happy to see you. Thank you so much for being with us. And my first question to you is, since our audience is from different countries, and a lot of people asking that now we have to be on Zoom meetings a lot of the time. And for many people, it's very boring. It's boring for students. It's boring for kids in school. And even sometimes for us, for adults, for me as a film director, I prefer to meet people, to shake their hands, to hug them. But I'm happy that I can see you. So I'm also grateful to technology because you are in Dubai, you are in your United Arab Emirates, and I'm at the moment in Kazakhstan. So otherwise, how we will meet? I'm going to Dubai only in 5 days. So my first question, Soul, to you. As a theater director and instructor, do you think are there some tips we can use to make our Zoom meetings and conferences online more animated?
Well, because I am a theater person, of course, for me, this has been a huge challenge as well to be, and I'm not actually camera friendly. And so it's taking a lot of time to adapt some of the exercises or our approaches to online and technically being on a screen. But for my part, what we have to do in theater is we can't necessarily think in terms of film either. Right, so because in theater it is more about direct reception of which you're saying, and my favorite little quote tagline is 1 + 1 is 3. It's more when you're alive. Of course, it's much more even that what you see or hear. There's something about in person that makes it special and adds meaning. So on screen, definitely it has been so limited, and I find myself. Also, because I'm not screen friendly, I do need to take periodical breaks. I have 2.5-hour sessions, and I know myself that after 40 minutes, it's not so much my attention span because, as I've noted before, like an actor is asked technically to be able to focus up to 2 hours, and I think that goes for the same with audience. You're in a show. Maybe there is a break in between, but it's not a question of our attention span. It's probably this medium, because screens can be very tiring. So and it puts us all as a result as performers, even people who say like are attending the class. You are being observed, and one of the things I think we can take from theater, they say on stage, if you listen and pay attention, you're very magnetic. So when you give attention, you get some attention. And it's just to be able to listen and focus and be engaged in your content or whatever that it is that you're saying is really important. Trying to stay natural and truthful is also very challenging. I know, like in real life, when I've worked in different places where it's a rehearsal room, and if there's mirrors, I usually say no mirrors, because there's quite a weird cognitive dissonance that happens, especially when you're performing or you're in character. You are watching yourself, watching a character, watching you. It's very box within a box, for your brain. So and it's difficult not to be self-conscious, but it's one of the things we have to get over. I have a tendency to look at myself in this little box. So I try to avoid that and see your face and focus on you. And when you are conducting something, yes, you are watching everyone. You can see, and everybody can be seen. So I think it is also important for, I guess this has to do with audience being spectatorship. And so if I were in real life with you and you're talking to me and I am physically looking bored, you probably wouldn't do that, or maybe, I don't know, I know you wouldn't, but you probably wouldn't do that in real life as well. So I think one thing we can take from theater is not to forget that this is real. And we're not talking to a machine, or we're not listening to a machine. We are talking to a real human being there, so that your reception is just as
this is very true. I absolutely agree with you. What is difficult, because you don't know what is the reaction. Are people listening to you? Is it interesting to them at all? Maybe all of them are already sleeping. Maybe they are looking at you, but at the same time, they're making pictures, they're thinking about something else. While when we are talking in real life, we can see the reactions, we can see the body language, and even the environment, and it helps us to understand. But anyone, you said one very important tip, that just know that it is real. You think, okay, I can go to the kitchen, I can run away. More than that, it is recorded. More than that, it will be saved. So if you want to delete it, let's say, I don't know, if you are cheating and you have 25 wives, and then you will say that I'm not married, I don't have kids or something, then it can pop up. Okay, one tip which is very important, Sol, you told us, it's about just to know that it's in real, and to look more at the other person, not at yourself. Try not to look at this small screen, because, in a way it's, number one, I will tell you now as a film director, you don't look like that, like you think you look, because the screen is small, and on my screen, you're very big. That's why you are not looking the same as you think you're looking. You look much better. And if you will look at yourself, you will only be interested about how you're looking, but you look very good, because the screen is good, the screen is big, and you're beautiful, so you look good. So, that's why you see what's here. Okay. My question to you is question number one, number two. What do you think? Maybe we can use some gestures or some voice technique or something, because now you teach students in Sorbonne University, and you teach them acting.
Well, actually, this if I can, use this little bit, whether it's for community programs or even at university. One of the things I say is, when you take an acting course, you have to embrace this paradox. I'm not a believer in how. Okay, it's not I'm teaching you how to act. Ultimately, you don't want to look like you're acting, so you are not acting. It is not. I'm not necessarily. I don't think we're necessarily after someone learning how to be like something, like a character, but finding ways of being that character. So essentially, I think we're back to telling the truth, and that it is real. Does that sort of answer your question? I kind of lost my train of thought.
Yeah, it's like, what are the tips? Let's say the person has a very important message. He has a very important business. Let's say he's doing online education for people who are poor, and he is teaching them how they can use this education for $10 a month. It's like was my previous speaker, and I was really inspired by what she's doing. She's working in the association that is helping people to get education for as low as at $10 a month. And it is a very good quality education. So how, let's say, if she wants to attract attention, because if she will stay still, speak in a very monotonous voice, or look always at herself, how she's looking at the screen, that great idea, it will just die. So
that is true.
How we can use our body language, or what we can say, so that we can be as efficient as if we are not on the screen. Are there any tips?
Well, okay, so I will go back to being truthful and believing what you're saying. So perhaps this medium is actually an opportunity for us to really appreciate what truth is, because if you know in your heart you are speaking the truth, it will transpire. And certainly, so from theater right now, I am probably speaking a little louder than perhaps I would if we were at a table together inside. And perhaps some things from theater, like warming up your facial muscles, doing some voice exercises, and still projecting. That is one thing I do ask of students or actors if I'm seeing them online, that they still need to project. Just because you are in a small space doesn't mean that speaking like this is going to be very efficient. You still need to use a little bit of that these mechanics from performance, which is projecting and focus. So you can definitely use some little theater exercise warm-ups to get yourself ready before you come on, and always keep a good level of energy. And because if you don't have if you're not necessarily, if you haven't activated your energy, then that will also transpire. I'm not a film person, but from what I have heard of film is that it does pick up little things that even perhaps on stage and further away. So the camera does pick up everything, and it's not to make you feel self-conscious about it, but just to be aware that a little flinching and a little drop in energy probably does transpire on camera. So to keep your energy up and your projection clear is in front of your camera is probably just as important as if you were on stage at a distance.
Absolutely great. So your tips are, soul is just to project, to use your voice maximum, maybe even a little bit exaggerated, because we don't have the luxury of holding hands and feeling each other. And also trying to project, but also at the same time to be yourself, not to trying to be Superman or Spider-Man, or I don't know which man, Hollywood man, something like that. Tell me, please, I know maybe it sounds very silly, but most of the people who are listening, we don't know these tips, acting tips. If it's possible to give one secret tip, you said that the warm up, or just, for people who have no connection to the theater, what kind of warm up you're saying? What kind of, what is that?
Yes, so usually, and again, I've had like a really tough time trying to adapt some of these exercises because I need to take distance from my computer, and then students need to take distance from my computer because we're standing up straight. We have we create a good alignment in our spine, and we try to speak from the belly. So although I'm really only performing for you right now with my torso, I'm going to try to explain some of it even sitting down. So you want to take your breath from here. There's one little tip, I think this is from yoga, that helps you relax before public speaking. I don't know how to hold my fingers correctly, but it's alternate nostril breathing. So you plug one nostril, you take in breath from the nostril that is open. And when you've reached the apex of that breath, you drop it with your other nostril. And then you take your breath again with the open nostril, and then plug it and drop it with the other. You do a couple of those, and what actually that does is oxygenate your brain. And the more oxygen you have in your brain, the more efficiently you think. And so our breath, when we try to have our shoulders relaxed, and we breathe in from our belly, it's called diaphragmatic breathing. You probably have heard actors that speak from the belly, although it's not necessarily literally the belly, it's somewhere around there. And you try to, for a warm-up, you can try taking oxygen in through your nose and out through your mouth, and be conscious of your belly expanding and retracting. So like, my shirt is a bit loose, but and so you've already readied yourself for, say, efficient breathing and therefore efficient projection. And your face, just a little factoid, your face has the highest concentration of muscles in one place than anywhere else in your body combined. You have a lot of muscles here. So activating those also help you with projection and making sound better. So it's a silly little exercise, but vibrating your lips tends to activate all the muscles around here. So it's taking in a diaphragmatic breath and vibrating your lips. And it looks a little silly, but it looks like this. Right? You do a couple of those, and I know it looks silly on camera me doing it, but you you make a couple of grimaces and you activating all the muscles in your face. And that's some of the things you can do like before you get on stage, and they're probably valid also for public speaking. And although my experience is limited on camera, I try to do a couple of those before I get into sessions, before coming onto camera as well.
Bravo. Bravo, Soul. That is amazing. That is really very inspiring. Soul, tell me please, as my, by the way, I think that you can give classes for people from all around the world on their voice, on their spine, on their muscles, on their way of projecting. I think now more and more people who have to become actors, even if they don't want to, I think it will be very useful, honestly speaking.
Oh, so I'm
happy that more people in the world will know about Soul Obyat, which means white sun. White sun.
Yes,
the last question to you is about the future of the theater. I know that a lot of people who are actors, they're really suffering in these pandemic times because the theaters are closed, or if they're not closed, it's a very, very limited way. And we are now in this robotic technology time. And if you are not in this technology time, you are dying. I think it's not fair. But I know that many people are not agree with me. They say that you should be modern, you should be progressive. I'm not progressive, I'm very sorry. I love theater, I love books, I love people. I love everything that we can touch, that we can play, that, you know. But I'm grateful in a way to technology because if not that, I will not meet you. And I'm grateful that I have a chance to see you. So tell me, please, do you think there is a future for theater, or it will die?
Well, the thing is, this isn't the first pandemic. Even in theater history books, we see that there was in ancient Greece, I think in Rome, and during the Dark Ages, there's often been pandemics throughout human history. And at the same time, there has also been theater throughout human history, and the pandemics didn't necessarily end it. They certainly challenged it, I think, especially in Europe during the Middle Ages, but ultimately did not stop it. And I like to be an optimist and say that, you know, this is passing. It's hurting, doing a lot of damage, certainly, and economically right now, but I don't believe that it will necessarily sustain. And one day we will like go back to being able to watch live shows. And so one of the things, yes, online to do and be with technology, a little example that I use to describe the challenge of doing theater is if right now I would say, let's play football. And how do I pass the ball over to you? And so counter arguments, because kids are so smart. Yes, well, you know, there's football. You can play football online. Yes. And so my answer to that is sure, but there has been software development and, you know, all the gaming has been made for that. I don't know of one for theater. That would probably take the technology of you know, scanning your entire body, making an avatar for yourself, and putting us. It's not accessible to me, at least right now. So and I don't know if it could be. So definitely, yes,
I can take Soul Obyat from here. I can put the same soul next to me, to this chair. We can do some theater together, and then I can put you back. Do you think something like that will be maybe possible?
But I think that would be in quite a long time, and I think that would mean that, you know, that the technology and access would have to be more democratic. That, you know, okay, 3D projection, would I be habilitated? Right now I'm not, but I guess I could be. We could have look at something like the possibility of 3D projection, but 1 + 1 is 3. So there's still something that's different. Even the you know, things we don't necessarily consciously hear, but even somebody, when we talk about vibrations of someone, you know, so that's something that you feel when you're live with someone, and not with a distance, not even with holographic, with projection, right? So but yes, ultimately I would say it'll pass. it has passed in the past. We see it in the history books, and that I don't know how far down the road it is, but not to give up hope, and I think it's important, like you were saying, that that they are people like you that are still lovers of these art forms, and to want to keep them alive and not give up and necessarily say, it's going to be online anyway. Who cares? We'll do it all virtually because I don't know. I mean, maybe, but so far throughout human civilization, we have found a way to be together ultimately.
This is very optimistic, and I'd like you to give to our audience who are watching us from Dubai, from Amman, from Saudi, from Moscow, from London and Monaco, what you should give them. What is the wish for the last days of 2020?
That we see the back of 2020, that everyone does keep safe, and that we, like in theater, we have devised and invented ways to try to cope. So I think everybody does that, and with human ingenuity and imagination and creativity, we have been able to overcome these kinds of situations, and that people have been able to stay in touch with their loved ones, and found a way to celebrate with their loved ones. And I hope that even if it is right now just virtually, that everyone does keep in touch with their loved ones and enjoy the holidays.
Bravo. So it was Sol Abyad. She's highly recommended if you want to improve your voice, your technique, be nice and cute on screen. You can go to Sol Abyad. That was a great pleasure to meet you. Tasharafna, Fursa Saida, and Shante. And I was very happy to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
شكرا كثير, Olga. Thank you.
شكرا كثير. مع السلامة.
مع السلامة.